During the golden era of Cartoon Network, with shows such as The Amazing World of Gumball, Regular Show, and Cartoon Network's Sweet Sweet Baby Adventure Time, one show in particular that had kids threatening their parents to not cancel their cable television payments was Steven Universe. Now, Steven Universe was one of the most beloved shows to ever air on Cartoon Network, as it touched on many real-world topics, and is mainly known for its... well, I don't really know, because I've never seen it. All of the info that I gathered to do my podcasts are just pictures that I pull from online, and I just make my assumptions from there. Now, don't get it twisted, it's nothing personally against Steven Universe, it's just that watching TV or movies has just never been something that I've done in my free time, like, ever, so it's not the only one. There's a lot on the list that I haven't seen. And even though I live under this rock, I could still recognize Steven Universe if I saw like a character or a fan art or some kind of drawing concept, but as far as the show goes, I've never seen a single episode, and I genuinely have no idea what the concept of this show is. And because my podcasts on TikTok have amassed millions of views, this has given me the false expectation that people on YouTube would also love these videos. So like any normal content creator, because this is what people want, I will now be making this my entire identity until the algorithm dooms this series to fall off. And if you're coming from my TikTok video of the Steven Universe podcast, you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to be going into a lot more depth within this video than I did in my TikTok. So let's get started. Identifying the main character, this little boy has to be Steven, and since the show is titled Steven Universe and not Steven's Universe, I'm going to assume that Universe is his last name. Setting up some world development, Steven looks to have been born into a world full of crystal beings that all have superpowers. Except Steven. In fact, I believe he is the only person that lives within this realm that does not have powers. Why is this? Well, I think this has something to do with the fact that he's like, not fully a crystal being. We'll get there. These three additional characters I see with Steven a lot in pictures, so I'm going to assume that they are his besties. And look, I'm sorry, I don't know the names of any of these characters, so they will be given nicknames. We have Meg the Stallion, Lois Griffin, and Trolley Polioli. So how do they all meet? It's kind of a boring backstory, but they all look older than Steven, so I'm going to assume that Steven just knows them miscellaneously from the town that they live in. And I don't really think any of these characters really knew each other, they just knew Steven, and he was the one that brought them all together. More on that here in a second, but remember how I said Steven is the only person that lives in this realm that doesn't have superpowers? I believe that is because he's like a demi-crystal being, so like one of his parents is a crystal and the other one is a human. Speaking of Steven's parents, what do Steven, Batman, and Harry Potter all have in common? I think you know where I'm going with this. Don't say it. Now, I don't think Steven's parents are dead. In fact, I don't even think Steven believes that his parents are dead. So, in classic Pokemon fashion, this 10-year-old boy starts off on a grand adventure to find his parents. He planned on going alone, but then the besties found out and they left their whole lives behind to assist him on the adventure. Don't ask me why, they just did. Thus forming what I'm going to call from here on out, the Crystal Crew. The Crystal Crew goes from town to town assisting people with miscellaneous tasks such as getting a cat stuck out of a tree, to liking my video and subscribing to my YouTube channel, to keeping an entire town safe from an opposing enemy. Every place they go, they win the hearts of everyone there and make new friends along the way. Especially Steven. Okay, the fun part. Let's get into the superpowers. This doesn't sound like this, but this is super important to the story. Now, there's a lot of fighting going on and everyone has their own unique set of powers that help them in combat. I'm guessing that Megan has super strength, Lois is the healer, and then Trolley Polly has like super durability, as in it's like really hard to do damage to her. Now, what about Steven? I'm going to assume that Steven doesn't actually have any powers of his own, but I do think that he has this unique ability that no other crystal being seems to have. The power of friendship. Okay, but for real, I don't think Steven has any powers himself, but I think he has the ability to absorb other crystals and combine their powers for himself to use. So, I guess, yeah, technically, kind of the power of friendship. Now, on their journey to find Steven's parents, we collect a few more members of the group. Speeding through this, we have Onigiri, whose power is super speed, Avatar the Last Waterbender, which I'm not getting creative for, she just vaguely has water powers, and David Rainbowy. I don't know, let's just say he can shapeshift. These open up more ability combinations for Steven. Okay, y'all ready for this? Let's get into Steven's parents. Spoiler alert, he finds them. Specifically his mom first. This is who I think Steven's mom and dad are. Don't ask me how I came to this conclusion. The dad I feel really good about. The mom was just a hunch. The mom looks like her name is Cupcake, and the dad just straight up looks like a Greg to me. Look, I don't care what their real names are. These are their names for the rest of the video. And now that we got that out of the way, how did Steven meet his parents? Steven has made quite a name for himself on his quest, and this catches the eye of like the overall Crystal military, and they invite Steven and the Crystal Crew back to the headquarters, for lack of a better word, to help with a special mission. When they get there, they realize that the leader of the Crystal military is Steven's mom. They have a little heart-to-heart, and Steven's all like, why did you leave me? And this is where the tea is. So Cupcake goes on to tell us the story of how her and Greg met. And basically, they met when she was on a mission in the human realm, and I think you see where I'm going with this, but there is a twist. I'm guessing that it is a huge no-no for crystal beings to be romantically involved with humans. Cupcake knew this and had no intentions, but Greg saw her and really liked her personality and fawned over her. Cupcake kind of entertained it because she was having a hard time finding love in the crystal realm, and one thing led to another, and now we have Steven. But she couldn't bear the shame of Steven being a demi-crystal, so she gave him up to an adoption agency. But Greg didn't want this at all. He actually wanted to care for Steven, even if it meant him being a single dad. Cupcake assumed that with Steven being a demi-crystal, that the human world was not going to be able to properly take care of him, so she took him away from Greg and did what she thought was best for Steven. Greg still, up until this point, has no update on Steven, and nobody really knows what's up with Greg either. They hug and make up, and now it's mission time. So what is this big mission? Apparently, this Yzma-looking sun raisin has a plot to take over the entire crystal realm. We're just gonna call her Yzma in this video. Yzma has this unique ability to control other crystals and make them do what she wants them to do. The problem is that she can't do this on a grand scale and is looking for a solution. That solution? Remember how I said Steven can absorb other crystal beings and use their powers? Yzma finds out about this and makes it her mission to control Steven and merge with him in hopes that this is her key to doing this on a grand scale. This ends up being the real reason why the Crystal Military came upon Steven and the Crystal Crew in hopes to protect Steven and keep this from happening. Blah 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 fillers and fast forward, and Yzma and her crew launch an attack on the Crystal Military because you haven't liked my video and subscribed to my channel yet. I'm just kidding, do what you want. Things are not looking good for the Crystal Military, and Yzma's actually getting through pretty easily due to her ability to control and manipulate everyone. This leads her right to Steven, where she tries to manipulate him into succumbing to her plan. But uh-oh, one little problem. Because Steven isn't actually fully a crystal being, her powers don't actually work on him. Nobody knew this, by the way. Not even Yzma. In fact, we're all actually kind of shocked by this news. Yzma now has to resort to doing a little persuasion, and she does this by trying to make Steven resent his mom for what she did to him. And just when it almost worked, he fused together with his mom. In this fusion, we learn that this breaks the manipulation that Yzma has over Cupcake. Okay, side note, I wasn't sure where to mention this, but when Steven fuses with other crystals, he can communicate with their consciousness. Let's get back to it. So Steven is all like, what do I do, Mom? And she's all like, I don't know, son. This is bad. We might as well just take the loss here, and I'll use my powers to get us out of here, and I'll take us to your dad. Yeah, Steven was all like, wait, you know what's up with Dad? And she was like,
yeah, whoopsies. Forgot to mention.
Girl. She then explains to Steven that her powers are that she can make portals that allow her to go anywhere she wants to go or see anybody that she wants to see. So let's bounce. Sparing all the small details, Steven and his dad are reunited, and he learns that his dad is a famous musician in the human realm. And it's all a very touching moment. Steven unfuses with his mom, and all three of them are together for the first time, literally ever. Greg is ecstatic to learn about Steven's life, but we have bigger fish to fry, right? Because time is ticking in the crystal realm. Cupcake is like, dudes, I can't just sit back while my world is being ambushed. It's like literally my job to protect it. So y'all have a good life. I'm out. Steven and Greg are all like, whoa. We're coming back with you. And Cupcake was like, are you dumb? That literally was not the point of me bringing you here, Steven. Because if you get caught by that maple leaf with lash extensions, we are cooked. And what are you gonna do, Greg? Sign autographs? So she summons a portal to go to the crystal realm, but against her wishes, Steven and Greg slip right through the portal behind her. Chaos reigns in the crystal realm. Cupcake gets mad at Steven and Greg, but mid-argument, she quickly gets recontrolled by Yzma, which means she's close. Yzma has to come up with yet another plan, so she tries to take Steven by force this time. She ends up summoning everyone that she's controlling to surround Steven, and as they enclose on him, he sees his friends, his mom, even people that he's helped throughout his journey, and remembers that if he fuses with them, it will break the control. But still, fusing with just the crystals that he can see still leaves other crystals for Yzma to control. So he comes up with this brilliant strategy to fuse together with every single crystal in the entire crystal realm. Even Yzma. Terrified of the effect this will have, he has no other choice but to try it, so he activates his polymerization card, and the world goes silent as all the crystals combine into one collective. And Steven's dad's just sitting there like,
Everything okay, my boy?
Remember how I said that Steven could communicate through the consciousness of the crystals when he's combined with them? Well, all crystals are remembering their ties to Steven and sharing to all crystals stories of a time when Steven was selfless to help them in a time of need. These stories, with the combined consciousness of all the crystals, helps bring understanding to how truly unified they are, and shows how acts of selflessness brings prosperity to all. Steven can feel that this change has truly redefined all the crystal's values, even Yzma's, and releases them from being fused with him. Crystals are hugging, repenting, and crying tears of joy. It's disgusting. Even Yzma is truly changed and no longer wishes to control people. Everyone now lives with the intention to better the lives of everyone around them. Steven is reunited with his family, and Greg and Steven host a giant concert to bring everyone together in celebration. I don't know, I just had to make sense of this picture, and that's all I had. How close was I? Leave your thoughts below and comment which plot guess you want me to do next. Odds are, I haven't seen it. So, until next time, bye G's!